And Micaela Fontans, and we will be talking about Shakespeare's conspiracy. Here's a list of the topics we'll be exploring.
To begin with, what does Shakespeare's conspiracy consist of?
Some argue that Shakespeare didn't write his own plays. Instead, they could have been written by the Earl of Oxford or Francis Bacon. This theory was formulated by the British school teacher J. Thomas Looney. Looney, who having lost his faith in Catholicism, became part of a cult religious sect called the Church of Humanity. This conspiracy was initially presented in his book, Shakespeare Identified, in 1920. Mark Twain even said once, "So far as anybody actually knows and can prove, Shakespeare of Stratford-on-Avon never wrote a play in his life."
Nonetheless, Patrick Cheney, distinguished professor of English and comparative literature, comments on the theory. Lunacy, the Shakespeare authorship controversy, is all conspiracy. Not a single reputable scholar I know has the least doubt that William Shakespeare of Stratford-upon-Avon wrote the plays and poems ascribed to him.
On the other hand, there are many reasons that could have led Looney and many others to doubt his authorship. For instance, his origins. Shakespeare was born in 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, to an illiterate glove maker. He married Anne Hathaway by the age of 18, and at 29 they had 3 children. And what's perplexing about this is that none of Shakespeare's children ever learned to write their own name, being their father one of the greatest, if not the best, playwright in English literature.
To this argument, Cheney answers, not only was Shakespeare the son of a glover, but Ben Jonson was the son of a bricklayer, and Edmund Spenser the son of a tailor, while Christopher Marlowe was the son of a butcher. The case for the Earl of Oxford is about the belief of class-conscious gentlemen that only an aristocrat could produce great works of literature. Perhaps we should let Spenser, Marlowe, and Jonson know.
That is true. Many tend to overlook the fact that the inventors of modern English literature were mostly from the working class. Notwithstanding, some insist that Shakespeare lacked the education and experience to have written such a diverse body of work. According to available records, his formal education included just a few years of grammar school, which does not explain his supposed vast knowledge of classics and philosophers. He used a vocabulary of 17,000 words. To put it into practical terms, twice as much as John Milton's, the Secretary for Foreign Tongues by the Council of State of England.
Yet, Cheney advises not to underestimate his passage through grammar school in Stratford, since it laid the foundations with acquired knowledge that he would further spend on his adulthood. He states, Shakespeare was not simply a genius, he was by all accounts a voracious reader. The plots from nearly all his plays and poems come from books.
The problem is, he utilized source texts that were not even translated into English. Regardless of that being possible or not, there's still an unexplained matter. How could have a provincial commoner such as Shakespeare have written scenes featuring royals or set in foreign countries?
To that, Cheney answers, as a member of a royal acting company, Shakespeare had plenty of opportunity to experience the courts of serving firsthand, and as an avid reader of history, he could certainly recreate a foreign country in his fiction.
That's coherent. On the whole, conspiracies are often difficult to prove or disprove, and there's no way to be certain about Shakespeare's authorship. Therefore, it is up to you to decide what to believe in.
That is the end, and next is the bibliography.